Greetings, Crawford Ashley here to Spiritual Boxing. I'm going to talk about boxing again, as I always do. Well, today's been a bit weird and a bit funny. But Theo's boxing next week, Friday coming up, at the Aurora Suite in Leeds. And if you fancy going down to see him, come down and see him. You can pay on the door. It'll be a good night, it'll be packed, there'll be some good fights on. And a kid who called Zaid, so I think he's about 6'7", he's fighting, he's doing a charity thing. He was a kid I used to train when I had my gym in Dewsbury. So it'll be good to see if he's learned anything from what I taught him a long time ago. But Theo's boxing, Declan's boxing, and he wants to put to bed his last fight, so which is good. He's coming on very, very well, and I'm looking forward to his performance. I'm excited about Theo at the moment. I want him to have another 4 or 5 fights and then go pro, but he's finding the right path because I want to keep him busy. And like I said, I don't want him to, he don't want to fight to mark hands. He don't want bodies. He wants to test. So that's very interesting for me. But a few, like I said, my mind's not been in a very good place at the moment, but a few things have happened which have been weird. Because I've been working with mental strength and how to build your mental strength. And because your mind's one weird thing. And like I said, I've felt a bit shitty this week. Well, last week. This week I seem to get through it. But anyway, I started to read, which is very difficult, it's hard work for me to read. I don't really like reading, but I want to get into it. And I'm reading a book at the moment called Atomic Habits, and it's about how changing bad habits into good habits, and this, that and the third thing. And I found it very interesting because I did most of them things, turning bad habits into good habits, subconsciously, but they worked for me. And I find it interesting how what I'm teaching is basically got a scientific base, science-based, where I never looked at the science when I was boxing. I just sort of like did things intuitively. It seemed like my body knew, or my mind knew what to do. And it's like how you talk to yourself when you're training. And there was a kid who boxed over the weekend called Joe Hardy, and I hadn't seen the fight, but according to form, he ran out of steam, he wasn't fit. And in the gym, this kid is fit. He's really fit. But yet, after 3 rounds, he ran out of steam. And I think that's because most people, when they get tired, that's when they stop training. And like I was saying on that thing, that's when you've got to start to train. And one of the first books I read was Muhammad Ali, The Greatest. And I was only about 11 when I read it. And he said something in that book, which was, it took me a long time to read actually, which was basically, he didn't know nothing about boxing. Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer that ever lived, and he don't know nothing about boxing. How can I ever know anything about boxing? So that put me on the path to gain as much knowledge as I could about boxing, and I learned from everything and everybody in every situation. And another one, he said, which really hit home for me, he starts training when he's tired. And that's when you got to put the work in, is when you're tired. And it made so much sense because when I was boxing amateur, I was always tired. First round, as soon as the bell rang, I was knackered. Nothing happened and I was tired. psychological. So when I would be in the gym, I'd train tired, I'd be knackered. If I went for a run, I'd be like sprinting for the first bit and then just try and hang on all the way around. And it's like when I first, because I was at a bad place when I was about 20, between 18 and 20, I was off the rails completely, and boxing got me back on them. But I stopped smoking just like that. One day I smoked, the next day I'd stopped. And I didn't smoke for another 20 odd years. I went for a run, and my first run I did 7 mile. And I was knackered. And all I was thinking is, I can make the next lamppost. We can stop at the next lamppost. And as I got closer to the next one, I can make the next one. And I kept doing that, and all I just concentrated on was getting to the next lamppost, And I did it. Oh man, I threw up, I was sick everywhere. It wasn't nice, but I realised I could do that by talking to my body. I can get more out of it than I perceive I can. Not by screaming and shouting at it. For me, it was all about coaxing. When you're in a hard fight, what do? You start going through all the things. Did I do the runs? Did I do them hard enough? Did I put all the training in? Did I go out? Have I eaten right? You're looking for any excuse that you can blame. But if there's no excuses, then you think, well, I am fit. I shouldn't be tired. This is just nonsense. My body can do this. And then you can go through it. I don't know, the mind is a great object in it. And that's what's in control of the body. You know, you got to trick the body into feeling it's fit. And you do that in the gym. You can do one more rep. You can do it. We can do it. And that's how you talk to yourself. You don't want someone screaming and shouting at you. Oh, my mother can do better than that, and she's 96. You know what I mean? You're not lazy. You just don't know how to talk to your body. And when you get tired, that's when you've got to start training. So wherever you do the intensity at the beginning, have a warm-up. The intensity at the beginning should be very, very high. For me, that's what I believe. And then when you're tired, that's when the session begins. And all done. And it's like this boxing 12 rounds. It used to be 15. And they always called the round 13, 14, 15 the championship rounds, because that's where true champions are made, and true champions are made up here. You know, they talk to themselves, they get themselves through it. And they also, sometimes you have to leave the body alone to let it do what it needs to do, which is survive the fight. You know, it's difficult that trainers get blamed for a lot of the fighters who don't implement what they're supposed to do. If you're telling your fighter that pushing him on the back foot going forward, he can't handle that, you need to get him onto the back foot, but the kid is still getting pushed back. Why are you getting him on the back foot? Because he's not doing something, which is throwing punches. Because the only way you can get somebody to go backwards is to throw punches. Put him under pressure with your feet, because then those punches are coming at you. You know? And that's what, like, some of these good boxers, the first maybe 30 seconds of the fight, they don't do anything, they don't throw no punches, they're just having a look, getting the timing, gauging the ring, finding it out. And then they'll settle down and they'll start edging forward, finding out what their opponent's going to do. And then they start throwing punches. But, like I said, the top fighters, if something's not working, they change. And they'll change in the round. They won't go back to the corner to find out what the corner's going to say. In the round, they'll change. They'll change what they're doing. You know, whatever you call it, calculate and work out, yeah, I need to start doing this now. And that's what I say about boxers. The brain is your best weapon. Work it. These are your tools. Yeah? And this is your defence. Your feet are your defence. Get you in and out of trouble. Yeah? When you're getting hit, you're doing something wrong. Move. Yeah? Get on your toes, get out of the way. Even just go backwards. Because even if they're hitting you, you're taking half of the power off the shot. Anyway, like I said, I've talked about boxing and a little bit of mind and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, which I didn't think I was going to do today because my mind just went blank earlier on. Anyway, if you like the vibe, please subscribe. And if you think it's of value to somebody, share it.